I'd like to continue a bit further on this subject. It is actually a very interesting subject on sensual craving. It sounds very unwholesome, but it gives us a lot of holy happiness. It is the craving, sensual craving, that gives us a lot of worldly happiness in this life. Else the ill will and the ill will are all painful feelings, and ignorant mind always neutral feelings. So happiness in this world, for human world, is the craving consciousness that produces the happiness, and not only for human, also for the animal worlds, insect world, animal worlds, the 6 deva worlds. They get all their happiness from this craving, the senses. When objects, very pleasant objects, get into contact with the senses, eye, ear, nose, smell, tasting. And if we get a lot of these pleasant objects in our human life, then that's where our life is pleasant and happy. If we get to eat the things we like to eat every day, provided our stomach is okay, we don't get stomach pain. We see the things we like to see every day, see our loved ones, nothing happened to them, see the beautiful flowers in our garden, maybe go to movies once a while, or if you have money, frequently enjoy seeing, smelling, tasting, especially if you go for food restaurant where you have music and very nice, clean environment, cooling, you see nice food, taste nice, get a lot of happiness, a lot of worldly happiness of the senses. And where does this come from? Craving, sensual craving, enjoying through the senses. And no matter what they believe in, no matter what religion a person is, no matter what races or what sex they are the same. They arises with this craving consciousness. It gives them a lot of happiness, worldly happiness. They can experience it when they see loved ones, they have so much joy, come back from work, see their children, or the children coming back overseas, take them out for food, we get promotion, if suddenly money comes in for no reason, strike the lottery, produce so much happiness. But they are craving consciousness. So you think craving is no good? Everybody likes craving, because it gives so much happiness. So most people love craving consciousness. Because there's no pain in the actual craving consciousness. When it arises in the mind, it arises with pleasant feeling, which is worldly happiness, or it arises with equanimity, neutral feelings. Then why is suffering? Why is craving suffering? No, it is the cause of suffering. But craving is not suffering itself when it arises. It is the cause of suffering. Now why is it the cause of suffering? Why does it produce suffering? When there is clinging, when you can't get what you want, when you can't enjoy the things you love, when you have nice food to eat, suddenly there's no money and you can't enjoy the food, or you have to sell your house, you can't live in big, nice house, or your garden flowers start to wither away. That's where you get annoyed. That's where ill will consciousness arises. That's where anger arises, frustration, sadness arises. Ill will produces pain. Ill will is suffering. So, through the sensual craving, because you're so attached to this thing and you can't have this thing, or it is lost, then ill will arises. So, craving consciousness is the cause of suffering. If there's no craving, then there will be no ill will. And yet, generally, human has a lot of craving. But if you have craving and you have precepts, then you enjoy, then you have happy feelings without harming. When you don't kill for your taste, you enjoy your taste. You don't steal in order to enjoy other people's money that is not yours. You steal it to enjoy it. Sexual misconduct, intoxicant, taking drugs, side effect. So, in this life, whether they are Buddhists or whether they are of any other religion, they could find relatively life quite okay, happy, peaceful, if they get what they want. If they get what they want. Through their seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. Unless body pain, for example, unless there is pain coming from the body, sicknesses, unless decaying, they become weak, they become a lot of pain here and there, then such object could override means they cover up the enjoyment of the senses if they are not strong enough. And the normal thing that you enjoy, that you take for granted, like food, seeing television, like tasting, like hearing music, then they become no more pleasure. Why? Because they are overruled by the pain from the body, or by something that is happening. A very dear one is absent or passed away, or you lost all your money in gambling. That controls the mind. Mental object become very strong. Unpleasant mental object become very strong. That they cover up the happiness of the other senses. Then they no longer enjoy food. They look at nice food but don't enjoy it. Not because of health, not because they have stomach trouble. Their stomach okay, but they see the food, no appetite. We go to show, no. Not interested in seeing show. Music, no, not interested in music. Then it overrides. And when it controls the mind, then it controls the craving mind. The joy from arising, then ill will controls. Then that person goes into a lot of unpleasant feeling, mental feeling, directly from the mind or influenced by the body, and controls the happiness. That the person, if it is in a long duration, then it goes to depression. Mind gets very depressed, unhappy and sad, and could even go crazy. When the mind cannot bear the pain to a certain degree, then it go crazy. Cannot stand it, then it go crazy. The mind breaks. So we need to understand, if you're going, worldly happiness is necessary. If we do not have this worldly enjoyment, the mind feels depressed, the mind feels deprived, the mind feels angry, hatred, jealousy, envy. So we need a certain level of worldly happiness so that we could meditate. That's what we call merits. We need merits. And what is this merits for? This merits is that we can live in this world, secure in this world, without being deprived. We have sufficient money in the bank. You don't worry about them. We can live our life, not worry about food tomorrow or next day or next month. You have money to pay these and all that, money for our children. Then we can sit and meditate. Merits, these are all our accumulated merits that produce the favourable condition for the progress of spiritual life. But if we don't have sufficient merits, then it becomes a hindrance. Hard to strive for spiritual life when you think about rice tomorrow. Where is money for rice tomorrow? Where is money for milk for the child or your children? Where is money for the school fees for your children? Where is money to pay this and pay that? And when, as a layman, we are not monks, money rightly earned, as we have these sensual craving, we like to see beautiful things, we like to smell perfume, we like to buy very nice and perfume that suits us, we like to eat good food, tasty food, wear nicely. It's quite alright, provided you maintain your precepts. The precepts, do dana if you can afford, do some charity, some giving, services. If you don't have money, just provide some services. Meditate, that will provide for future life, that you don't fall, that you will have rebirth in a favourable condition where you can still progress in your spiritual life. You could still be born able to practice Buddhism or the Noble Eightfold Path, or you are born in the Deva world, and from the Deva world you can still practice. If you are born with intelligent roots, wisdom roots, you could even get enlightened in the Deva world. And you must understand this craving, that it is unwholesome, but you don't overdo it. Don't go into excess. When you enjoy, don't harm people in your enjoyment. Don't go into excess. What is the protection? Our Sila. Moral is our protection. You enjoy in this life, you're happy in this life. And so the resultant, we're happy in the next life, in the future life. Even though we enjoy in this life, we still enjoy the future life. Still have this sensual craving in the future life, where you're born in a nice place, nice surrounding, having nice food, in a happy country where there's no wars. The country is not so suppressing. We have liberty to practice what you want to practice, or lead a holy life. Craving. And yet, this is where our worldly happiness is. It's where worldly happiness is. And it occupies most of our consciousness, most of our time. But we have the wholesome happiness too. But a wholesome happiness, normally, it is hard to develop, and it is not in a long duration. It's very short duration. When you meditate, sometimes you get a bit of joy, and you say, oh, this is wonderful, and you don't come back again after several months or not at all. And you say, hey, this is very enjoyable. I feel very light. I feel very calm and peaceful, and I feel very nice. I feel very cooling. And then it disappears. It doesn't come back because craving, attachment sets in. So that is the outcome of wholesome mind. So it does not arise once the unwholesome mind arises. And we think that craving is only one. It is not so. 8 types of craving as listed in the scriptures, in the Abhidhamma. And it's good to know a bit more so that we know the difference, understand deeper into what this craving mind is all about. And it's listed very simple, basic Abhidhamma. Basic, it's just very basic. Craving consciousness that arises with views and without views. Without views, it's just craving, that's all. It's just craving. It's just I want to take ice cream, I want to eat ice cream, I want to sleep early nights. Some of them like to stay in the hotel. They're very cooling and very pleasant ambience and very convenient. It's like a paradise. They have a lot of food, nice food and music and clean and like a palace. Hotel is like a palace. So there's no view. It's just craving consciousness, no view. It's not attached to any views. Now when I talk about views, in the scriptures, it means from view. And when it is wholesome, it means knowledge. It does not use the word view. Ditti does not use the word view. View comes under ditti. There are 62 types of wrong view, which the Buddha mentioned, that trapped beings in mind and body, from the hell world right up to the Brahma world. They're trapped by the nets of views. They could not escape birth and death because of the views. So they are trapped by the 62 types of wrong views. And ill view has no views. Ignorance has no views. It's just not knowing. It has no views. It does not form views. Hold on to a certain view. No. It is just not knowing, just stupid, not knowing, just blank. The mind just don't know, just blank. And ill view is just angry, it's just hatred, it's just envy and jealous. It has no view. It is not a view. It is an unpleasant thoughts that arose in the mind that produces ill will. But attachment, craving has views. And when craving arises with the views, it is strong. It is strong in a sense that when it is strong view, creates a lot of bad karma, mental and physical action. Views such as thinking that it is alright to kill in the name of God, or God created animals for humans to eat, so it is alright to kill them for food. So it is a view that it is alright. There's no karma, there's nothing wrong, there's no result in killing animals for food because they are created for humans to eat. So it's a view. And so the craving that arises with view that it is alright. So a person do more killing because it is alright. It is not wrong to do it. There's no law to prevent from doing it. But of course, endangered species, there's a law. So you kill that, then you are in big trouble. And other views. If you do wrong, there's no karma. Do good or bad, there's no karma at all. There's only one birth when you die. Everything is no more. There's no future life. There's no past. There's only this present existing. And that's the beginning and end of your life. So that's a view. And with such type of view, people do not do good because it's useless to do good. Life is too short to meditate. Meditate for what? Life is only 60 years, 80 years. So you better enjoy yourself. So it's a view. And the craving, when the mind holds on to such type of view, due to craving to enjoy as much as you can in this life, because life is so short, then there's no spiritual life. Mind is always craving consciousness and ill will and ignorance that constantly arises. And so the mind performs a lot of unwholesome karma. So spiritual life is lost. So views that are the craving that are connected to views, craving they are not connected to views, craving that are prompted and unprompted, which I talk about in the last two talks. In the Abhidhamma, it just say prompted, unprompted. Prompted means that it's a weak craving. Unprompted means it's a strong craving. But it can be classified to what type of craving it is. Even just hoping that you'll be rich or you'll have a good life next year, that is a form of craving. Now if it is strong craving, they produce a lot of desire to attain and therefore to get what you want, and so the mind is occupied with chasing after what you want, and therefore it's a hindrance. The mind would not be peaceful and calm and balanced because due to the craving that is not fulfilled, and you need to fulfill that craving, to satisfy that craving. So the mind is always restless and disturbed, and we can't get what it wants. It produces a lot of pain, a lot of unhappiness, pain in the mind, and so spiritual life is lost. The person meditates, his mind is very troubled, you can't sit, can't see the rise and fall. Walking meditation, cannot see the walking air element. I could not penetrate deeper into the reality. I just stay on the surface, cannot get deep. Just stay on the problem, just stay on the thinking, mental formation, just the thinking and the thoughts. If it is the view, then it's just clinging to views. Could not meditate. Without meditation, there will be no concentration. Without concentration, there will be no clarity of mind. Without clarity of mind, there will not be the Four Noble Truths. So spiritual life, attainment is lost. To refer back, why should we know the craving mind? Because it is the cause of suffering. So when it arises, a meditator knows it's a craving mind, and make sure it is not very strong type of craving. If it is very strong type of craving, it produces a lot of pain, a lot of Craving produces a lot of restlessness and worries when you can't have what you want, and fear and so forth. And craving arises, it's always attached to the object. Holds on to the object, do not want change. Wants the object to be always like that. You buy a new car, you want a car to be always new. You don't want anybody to scratch it. You always want it to be new. You don't want anything to happen to it. When you have something precious, you make sure that nobody touch it. It's yours. But it cannot be so because of the nature, the law, universal law of change. So therefore, the mind always arises with fear when it's too drastic a change. Then suffering, great pain arises. If the change is gentle and slow, then less pain arises in the mind. So it depends on the change. Is it a drastic change? If a person is very healthy, young and healthy, and suddenly he gets into incurable disease, he got cancer, that is a drastic change. And I couldn't accept it. So the intense pain, the person going to experience very, very great pain because it is unacceptable. He's so young and healthy and suddenly goes into that. A sudden change, sudden great change brings strong pain to the mind when the cleaning is strong, when the sensual craving is strong. How does craving comes about? If you say, okay, I understand, okay, I know, sensual craving brings pain, yes, but why does it arise? You know, but still it arises. It arises. Why does craving arises? When you say you know, or you say, okay, I'm a Buddhist, I know craving is the cause of suffering, then why does craving keep on arising? Because the knowing is not strong. It's just the knowing, concept knowing, hearing knowing, learning knowing. It is not strong enough to prevent the condition from arising. What are the conditions? The pleasant objects that keep on appearing to our senses. Things we see so pleasant, so alluring, so pleasing, so lovely. Sound, smell, taste, touch, body feelings, thoughts, nice mental objects, beautiful mental objects. They're constantly, non-stop arising. If you have good karma of the past, then there are more arising, more things for you to enjoy. They're constantly arising, one pleasant object after another arising, keep arising. They are stronger than your knowing. Condition arising, more stronger than your knowing. What knowing? The knowing from reading, from listening, from learning. They are not strong enough. Not the deep type of knowing that arises by way of clear comprehension. Then they are able to prevent the craving, strong craving from arises. In the case of Arahant, there's no more craving could arise in the mind because fully enlightened. Whenever the object touches the sense door, mindfulness arises. Clearly knowing the object arises in the mind. So there is no craving for the object. No more clear, no more craving for seeing, smelling, tasting, touches. Then you say there is no more happiness for an Arahant? No. There is happiness for an Arahant. Arahant mind only arises with neutral and joy. Two types. Because there's no craving, so therefore there is no ill will. So Arahant no longer experience mental pain. He experienced physical pain, but not mental pain. Whenever physical pain is, an Arahant at once knows this is physical pain, the mind detached. Mindfulness arises, clear comprehension arises, detached to the object, and Arahant knows that it is just body pain. Just as when the Buddha gave Dhamma talks and he told the monk, Buddha body is full of pain, it's racking, it's very strong pain. I need to go to my chamber to meditate, to rest. Then he asked Sariputta to continue on with delivering the thoughts. But do the Buddha then have mental pain? No. Buddha knows his body pain. I need to rest. It is very strong, it's racking. My body is full of pain. And when I asked the Buddha why, in the past life he was a wrestler and he breaks people's bones. He get hold of the other wrestler and he's very good at a certain hold and he breaks their bones and give them a lot of pain. And so even when he became a Buddha, the karma is still taking resultant. It's still resultant, still feels body pain. Couldn't escape from the body pain, but not the mind pain, because there's no more craving consciousness. So there's no more ill will, no more I pain. He says when you meditate, pain is pain, itchiness is itchiness, numbness is just numbness. Knowing, mindful, aware, knowing. When you're aware and knowing, arises the detachment. When it is strong enough, you feel the body pain. And if you watch your mind, the mind has no pain. Even though there is pain in the body, there is no mental pain. There's no pain in the mind. When the mind is unrestrained, uncontrolled, without mindfulness, craving arises. So restraining is important in our practice, in our meditation practice. Restrain, don't go aboard, don't overdo things. Restrain. As a layman, you don't eat until you have stomach ache. You don't see until you get eye problem. You don't enjoy your body until your body gets sick. So, restrain as a layman. We do not say that you totally cut off enjoyment. That is for the monks, because monk is living on lay people's sweat. Lay people work hard-earned money, and give it to them food and dwellings and medicine and robes, clothing, and so they should not. They should restrain. They should not enjoy like lay people enjoy, so that they become a fertile soul. When lay people give it to them, in return they get merits, lots of merits. But if they are like a desert, no matter how much you give to them, there is no fruits coming out from what you give, because they're planting it on the desert. The monk don't keep Sila, no morals, don't keep morals when they don't practice, they don't have wisdom. Then it's a loss. It's a big loss. So again, how do craving arises? When the various conditions are present, which you have mentioned, and they are pleasant objects, and they are contacts, and they are sensor, consciousness, when you're able to see, hear, smell, touch, when consciousness arises. But at that moment, you do not experience the pleasurable feeling that arises. Only when it gets into the mind, when there's a conscious of the object, and it's averting into the mind though. Because if the object is very pleasant objects due to your past karma, then only pleasant feeling starts to arise. And pleasant feeling starts to arise in the following mental states. Then it gets into the mind when there's determined that, oh, this is pleasant, this color is lovely, this shape, this form is lovely, oh, this taste is very nice. When it determines and goes into the mental formation, we call them jhavanas, where karma is formed, then it's up to the mind to enjoy the object. Then the mind enjoy the taste. Oh, this is tasty. Or the mind starts to see more. Oh, this is nice. I want to see more. It's so beautiful. The flowers, so nice. Or the color, so nice. They see more. Then goes into the mind. And this mind is very complicated. There's a lot of mental states involved in this mind. If there's wisdom arising in that mind, and the mind knowing arises, and the mind knows, okay, this is very pleasant, okay, don't enjoy too much, because I'm allergic to this food. If I enjoy it, then I'm going to suffer tomorrow. And minds with wisdom arises and comes the restrain, and so he doesn't enjoy so much of this food. He just takes one or two, finish. He doesn't take the whole plate, because when it goes into the mind, it determines the rising of sensual happiness. Then the degree of our happiness in our mind is determined by the other mental factors, whether you want to enjoy more, or whether you want to enjoy less, or whether you don't want to enjoy. Okay, this is no good, I don't want to enjoy it, it's bad for my health. Okay, I don't enjoy it, it's too sweet, or too sour, or too tasty, or too salty, it's bad for my health. I don't enjoy this taste. Even though you like the taste, it's enjoyable, but now I will restrain, I won't enjoy this taste. And so your happiness in the mind, again, you can control the happiness of the senses in your mind. How much you want to enjoy, how long you want to enjoy, how far you want to enjoy, and of course the consequences, the resultant. If you enjoy without harming, without breaking the law, okay, it arises, it lasts for half an hour, 1 hour, then it disappears, it passes away. It's alright, you're not harming anybody, you're just enjoying yourself. You're not harming, you're not stealing, you're not killing, you're not taking drugs, you're not breaking the law. Then you understand the nature of this mind. Once you understand this nature of this mind, how far you want to go is up to you. Then you know, indeed, my life is a happy life. I have a lot of pleasant things. I can see pleasant things. I can eat pleasant things. I can taste. What I like to eat, I can just go and look for it and eat. Life is pleasant. Then, when you think about it, you feel happy. Indeed, your resultant karma is good. Indeed, your life is good. Your life in this world is good, because there are more happiness than unhappiness. There are more pleasant feeling than unpleasant feeling. But if there are more unpleasant feeling, if you start to see things you don't want to see, hear things you don't want to hear, smell all the rubbish and taste not good food, you have a lot of body pain, then it's a miserable life, and you feel, okay, life is a lot of suffering. And when it gets into the mind, the duration, again, it's up to you. Do you want to prolong the suffering? Do you want to prolong the pain? Do you want to increase the pain? Or do you want to let go of the pain? Or do you want to change from the pain to non-pain? Mental formation. It gets into the mind. When you learn to understand the mind, what is needed, addition or subtraction, a meditator can do that. Why? Because meditation is about the mind. You learn to understand your mind. You learn to manage your mind. What happened in this mind? Which the Buddha said, is there craving in the mind? Is there non-craving in the mind? How does craving comes about? And how do you get rid of it? And you know that if you do this, then you won't get so much pain. You won't get a lot of suffering. Free from pain. And that is the Dhammapada, the fourth foundation of mindfulness. Only meditators, if you practice the fourth foundation of mindfulness and you learn to watch your mind, just follow the teachings of the Buddha, how it is practiced, taught by the Buddha, then you could see all these things happening in your mind. You can identify what craving is. You can understand the happiness that arises. Is it through craving or is it through the wholesome thing, through dana, sila, samadhi, through the calmness and tranquility, or is it because of the wisdom that arises, that brings a lot of joy? That is the wholesome part. The wholesome part, like I say, only people who are very stable in their meditation, get a very strong concentration, and experience a lot of spiritual joy, the wholesome part. Generally, a lot of joy and happiness that comes are from the senses, the enjoyment of the senses, and it is necessary. We are humans, and it is necessary to have happiness of the senses so that our mind can be satisfied and stabilized as a condition for us to develop, to progress towards the spiritual life. The more spiritual happiness that you have acquired, then you really do not depend so much on the sense-craving consciousness. But if you do not have spiritual happiness, then a person relies a lot on the sensual happiness. Otherwise, if they don't have sensual happiness, then they have a lot of mental suffering. Because that's how the mind works. That's the nature of the mind. Whether you're male or female, whether you are young or old, whether you are, what type of belief you have, call yourself, the mind is the same. You have all the same mind. All the same mind. The happiness that arises through the senses, and that is the usual one. Because we can't help. We can run away from it. Because there appear in this world, the Buddha says, lovely objects, beautiful objects, alluring objects, pleasant objects. We can run away from it. It's our karma, our resultant karma that we have done in the past. And when there is this contact with our sense base, there arises pleasurable feelings, depending on the condition. What are the conditions? Objects, contact, and sense consciousness. I think I'll carry on again next week. I like to go deeper, make sure that you really understand, because the difference between the sensual happiness and the spiritual happiness, and you can identify them. And when you're sad, and then, why am I sad? Oh, you're sad because you don't have sensual happiness. You're sad when you're lonely. Why are you sad when you're lonely? Because there is no sensual enjoyment, that's why you're lonely. If there's sensual enjoyment, you wouldn't be lonely. Because there's no sensual enjoyment. No sensual. You're not enjoying food, you're not enjoying seeing, you're not enjoying music. You're just bored and you're just lonely. So therefore, there's no sensual happiness. That's why you're lonely. So you need to recognize happiness and sorrow, because this is very basic that the mind search for. Happiness, avoiding suffering, very basic. Everybody does that all the time. Even animals, insects, even devas, heavenly beings, they always search for pleasant object so that they could have happiness, sensual happiness. I'll stop here for tonight. We'll continue again next week. Okay? So could you say sadhu 3 times? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.